Move on to this other example of whether this person is a rat or not. And there's a brother out of Detroit named Kenyel Brown, Kenyel Brown, and he was actually working for the FBI on multiple cases throughout the 2000s. He was from the streets, but somehow he started to cooperate with the feds. And in 2020, he snapped. Something happened. After being released by a judge from custody, a Michigan judge set him free because he was already cooperating with the police. They let him go. And for over a 6-week period, this dude killed 6 people. He was 38 years old. And let me read this. Brown, 38, died after carrying out what police have described as a bloody crime spree that killed 6 people over 6 weeks. It ended with him shooting himself in the head in a suburban backyard while running from the police. So this is a guy that was working for the police, that was putting cases on people, wearing wires, not only for the local police, but also for the feds. But he snapped. And I think that this is an example of the federal government using witnesses that are still committing crimes.
Yeah, no doubt. And I believe a lot of them are, giving them passes, because they're getting caught more than we know. They're going to jail for little stuff here and there. Maybe it's a drug, maybe it's a gun, and they getting right out with no doubt going back to work. This is a tragic incident just based on, it shows me 2 things. One thing, it shows me that just because you're a rat don't mean you won't pull that trigger, And then another thing, you guys out here are, these people, if you would have treated, if this dude, if you wouldn't have let him be an informant to get reduced time, to, make him man up and do his time for his crime, then he might have been incarcerated while these 6 people was killed, and they probably would still be alive. This is really, to me, on the hands of the FBI, to be honest with you.
No doubt. And I believe that the families of the 6 people he killed, regardless if they were in the streets or not, they're going to have lawsuits against him. Let me read this one more paragraph. When he was released from jail back in 2020, on the same day he was hired again as an informant by the Detroit Police Department through Chief James Craig. And he has said that he never knew Brown's multiple probation violations, which are publicly available and easy to find on the federal court's PACER system.
Right.
So this is a chief using this guy as an informant, and he's saying, oh, I didn't know he was involved in all these extracurricular activities, when anyone could have just looked him up on the computer and found all these violations that this guy had.
Right.
Do you believe this chief is telling the truth?
Oh, I definitely don't. I believe he just didn't care because he just didn't think it would get this dangerous. They take a chance when they work with these cooperating witnesses, and I'm sure he just didn't care about the probation violations. I just really believe nobody thought this guy would go out and kill 6 people. So
no doubt. And the judge that let him go, his name is Bernard Friedman. It says here that U.S. District Judge Bernard Friedman held what was supposed to be a sentencing hearing for Brown, who had repeatedly violated probation stemming from a 2014 gun arrest. Brown had also failed drug tests. He got arrested for DUIs. He missed mandatory meetings, but the judge let him out.
He was a good informant.
Yeah,
he was hey, man, he was working.
Yeah,
so he was bringing in some good product for him, and for a judge to do that, they went up and told that judge in the back room, "Hey, judge, this guy's really good at what he do. You know what I mean? Here go the number of arrests we've had working with this guy. I believe we could sweep it." And they work like that. I believe we could sweep this under the rug for the greater good. And she went with it, or he went with it.
Well, it says here, instead of locking Kenyel Brown for his repeated violations, Judge Friedman released him at the request of a federal law enforcement agency that, for reasons not disclosed, basically what you just said, wanted Brown freed.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think the judge took any kind of backlash off this?
I don't know, because, the judge is going to say, hey, the FBI submitted this report.
Right.
This is standard procedure. Hey, I'm not going to know that this guy is going to kill 6 people. Right. But it should have us reevaluating this system of using informants. There had to be some sort of warning. I'm not saying that you knew he was going to kill 6 people, but anybody that's willing to go kill 6 people in a month,
right?
There got to be some red flags.
It seemed like, I was going to say, it seemed like it'd be some red flags. It'd be like this guy is maybe have a anger problem, a depression problem. I mean, you guys seen something, but but you really got to say, wow, 6 people, that is excessive.
Now I'm gonna stamp Kenyell Brown as informant at the highest of all levels. What do you say?
I mean, you have to. He had. I mean, he was obviously doing a great job for him over there at the FBI. They went to bat for him. With a judge. I mean, that says a lot.
Okay. Now let's go. These last two are a little bit different.
Thanks for watching this video clip of Streets and Scholars podcast with Alex, Alonso, and FG. If you want to listen to the entire episode, go to your favorite podcast platform and type in Streets and Scholars. But we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. And thanks for listening to another episode of Streets and Scholars.